Hello and welcome to the Rugby Hour, your weekly hour of two guys talking absolute gibberish about the rugby. As always, I'm Hugh, and as always, I'm joined by Kieran.
Yeah, we're back again for the first week of Champions Cup rugby.
Yes, this time virtually because we're back from uni for Christmas holidays.
Yes, getting in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, I mean, I am getting ready for Christmas.
Any green leggings seen yet, Hugh?
No, not yet, unfortunately. Not this weekend. But Christmas is a week on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's getting close. Getting very close. But anyway, you can all enjoy your festivities in the other time you spend in life not listening to this podcast, which we know for a lot of you is all you do in life.
Yeah, and it's the most valuable part of your life.
Yeah, exactly. But we should probably get on to talk about the rugby, as this is a rugby podcast. So we have the return. Yeah, apparently it is.
Wow.
So we had the return of European rugby on the weekend, and God, it was a good weekend of rugby.
Yeah, and having every game televised as well is
definitely
really nice to have, even though I couldn't watch many of them at all.
No, but I watched as many as I could. The only bummer is kickoff times clash.
Yeah,
that's the only bummer.
Two TVs and then.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, if we start talking about the opening game of the Champions Cup, the Heineken Champions Cup, at the Franklin's Gardens on Friday night, Northampton against Racing.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the scoreline, I didn't watch the game, but it's a bigger scoreline than I might have thought for Northampton, but I did expect Racing to win, I think.
I mean, it finished Northampton 14, Racing 45.
Yeah.
And I think that becomes less of a surprise when you look at the Racing backs.
Yeah.
So what is it? Marshall at 9, Russell at 10, and Russell was absolutely incredible. He was just... Finn Russell was running that game. It's Finn Russell's world and we're all living in it. I mean,
I'd love to see him at the Six Nations again, because for me, he was probably the best 10 in the minutes he played for the Lions.
I respectfully disagree, but okay.
But yeah, I really want to see what he brings to the Six Nations. Brings the liveliness. Him v Marcus Smith.
That's cannot the wait to see the Six Nations.
Yeah, cannot wait to see that opening game.
But Russell, I think it was for a try in the second half. The way it was at the start of the second half. They did a bit of kick tennis for a bit, and Racing certainly won the kick battle. I think Furbank put in a pretty dreadful kick, and Eddie Jones was there. I don't know how it will fare for Furbank for European Games.
Is he? Would you say he's safe in Eddie Jones's? I mean, he's got to fight to get in, actually, really, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely, and games like that on the biggest stage where the pressure's on, that's really where you need to be performing.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of the Northampton players who are on the cusp of the England team. So you think Ludlow at 7, you think Furbank at fullback, weren't quite up to the mark that was required.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, they were up against a very talented side, but I don't think they exactly covered themselves in glory. I mean, the Northampton defence just wasn't there.
The Northampton's defence is something that's always a bit shaky, I feel. Really strong attacking team, but they don't always have that defensive aspect. I mean, even when they played Bristol, when I went to watch that game, the only reason they really had a defence was because of the scrums.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they've actually got a team that can scrum, can get possession, they are at risk of falling apart a little bit, I feel.
Yeah, sure. The ridiculous thing is, in the pre-match build-up, Austin Healey said Saints were favourites.
Oh my God! Well, we all know Austin Healey knows nothing.
I mean, he said that because
absolutely nothing.
He said that because he thought the Northampton pack would be more dominant, and that Racing wouldn't be able to play without the pack dominance. But he was just completely wrong. But anyway, this Finn Russell try, lovely. It's a bad kick from Furbank, but the way Finn Russell sort of does a Marcus step on the outside, runs down the wing, puts a lovely offload on it inside, and it was an excellent try. But, as I was just saying a bit earlier, the Racing backline, it's no wonder. So Mashno, Russell, Imhoff on one wing. You had in the centres Fiku and Vakatawa, Teddy Tom out on the other wing and Kurtley Beale at fullback.
It's frightening.
That is quite the backline.
Yeah. It is very frightening to see.
Yeah, and that is a full international quality backline.
And is it an argument? Because we probably won't see backlines like that in, say, the Premiership because of things like the salary cap. Is that an argument against the salary cap? Because you look at what French teams have got. I mean, it's not like there's a massive unfair advantage in the French leagues.
No, but I would argue that when it comes to things like Europe, how many European Cups have Racing won? They've won none. They've lost the 3 finals they've won. They've lost to Saracens, Exeter and Leinster.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, the European Cup is the big stage for the big players. So I think to see all those players playing is just a good thing.
Yeah.
And it was exciting to watch. I mean, they were playing some excellent rugby wrestling, some excellent running rugby, really running the Northampton defence ragged.
Yeah.
But overall, also, I think Bigger also went limping off around the 45th minute for Northampton, which is not going to be good for them.
No, and he's gone off injured a few games, I think, this season. Maybe he's carrying something.
Yeah, maybe, but that's going to be. We'll see what that's like, but it's going to be awkward for Northampton. Mind you, Furlong has done well when playing there, and you know what, Northampton were against an incredible Racing team, and they won't come up against those teams often.
I am just flicking through the main clips of it now, and it's the finesse, I'll call it, from Racing.
Yeah,
the madness they can come up with.
It was just some lovely rugby they played, and it was a great way to open this season's European rugby.
Yeah,
but if we move on from that, then and we move on to Saturday, and the first game on Saturday was a depleted Cardiff side.
Yeah,
by COVID, they had a lot of academy players. Their front row all at university. A lot of their backs were at university. You had Josh Adams filling in the centre. You had, in all fairness, the back row. They had Ellis Jenkins, who, my man crush on him. They had Ollie Robinson, who hasn't played that much this season. Also, Botham, who hasn't played that much this season. It really was an understrengthed Cardiff team.
Yeah,
with all those players.
I think the scoreline shows, though, as well.
But honestly, it was such a fun game to watch, because it was a Cardiff team that went out with just no fear whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it was honestly just so refreshing to watch. And I have to say, at the Cardiff Arms Park, the crowd was incredible. Full house. They were so loud, and every little mistake Toulouse made, the place just erupted. I
mean, you do sort of have to cheer everything when it's...
Cardiff needed their 16th man, and their 16th man certainly.
Yeah.
And this was picked up a lot as well. You saw a lot of former Cardiff players were sitting in with the fans rather than in corporate boxes.
Oh, right.
That's just nice, isn't it? That's proper rugby.
Yeah, well, we've had that with Eddie Jones, not this season.
Yeah, that's true. But in all fairness, Toulouse were not at their best.
Yeah.
European champions, they were not at their best. They were making errors, and the 39-7 would probably be a score you would have kind of expected if Cardiff did have a full team.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit harsh on Cardiff, but
it wouldn't have surprised me if Cardiff had a full team.
No, not at all. Toulouse are a very strong side on their day. Not even on their day, they're just...
The difference in that match was Anton Dupont. He was absolutely incredible. I mean, he was named World Player of the Year the day before, and he was just simply stung.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect from Antoine Dupont anymore? You don't expect anything worse than bloody world class.
I mean, he assisted about 3 tries and scored one himself. He was...
Yeah.
One of them, he had this unbelievable crossfield kick from the base of a ruck, crossfield kick Toulouse score.
Yeah.
You can see Josh Adams is just standing there. He was trying to defend the wing, and he's nowhere near the ball. So the Toulouse player scored, and you just see Josh Adams turn around and just stare in absolute amazement at Antoine Dupont. Like, how the hell did he do that?
I mean, if I was playing against him, I don't think I'd even move a step on the field. I'd just be staring at him in amazement.
And something that came through, he put in some lovely handoffs in that game. Really, his strength came across. He's a strong boy, Antoine Dupont, in all fairness to him.
Dupont for front row?
Dupont for front row, possibly. Do you know, I was speaking to I was in the pub last night with my grandpa.
As always.
Yeah. So I was with Grampy and his friend Ray, and we were talking about this game. And one thing they both said is that Antoine Dupont is probably the best scrum half since Gareth Edwards played. And that is, my grandfather is Welsh, he's watched rugby his whole life. That is possibly the biggest compliment that could ever be paid to a scrum half.
But you will never know it.
In all fairness, it's not wrong. Gareth Edwards was an incredible player. And in fact, Gareth Edwards is probably one of the only players from the amateur era that could play in today's game.
Yeah.
And that's not far-fetched from, and I reckon that's perfectly fair to say about Gareth Edwards. But to say Antoine Dupont is the best scrum half since Gareth Edwards, A, I think is probably correct.
Yeah.
And B, it just goes to show how good Antoine Dupont is. And
the thing is that scrum half doesn't usually, scrum halves change the game a lot, but they don't usually have that much impact and they that much of a standout.
You don't think they're the star player that a whole team would rely on them, but
no.
Antoine Dupont, just any team he's in.
All they do is pick the ball up and pass it.
Antoine Dupont just does so much more.
Yeah,
he was absolutely incredible, and the best scrum half since Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, he's really immense.
But a word on Cardiff, because Cardiff were really excellent. That first half particularly, they were really on it. They gave Toulouse a bloody good game.
Yeah.
And it was full credit to them. This front row was all university students, and they were scrummaging against all.
How did they fare in the scrums?
At the start, it was a bit shaky at the start. Toulouse definitely had some dominance, and I think the referee did actually give a scrum warning to one of the Cardiff props.
Yeah.
But after that, throughout the game, it was very much an even battle, and Cardiff were even winning a few scrums.
Okay.
So, that's going to be a great story to tell to your mates at uni. Hey, do you remember that time that I scrummaged against the European champions? But throughout the team, Cardiff were great. And the senior players really stood up in that team as well.
Yeah.
So Chris Jenkins had a great game, as he always does. Thomas Williams as well had a good game. Halaholo in the centre, as well with Josh Adams, who's playing his first game in the centre. They both had excellent games as well. But overall, and Dan Fish, who's been pulled out of retirement for about the third time now. And,
one of those players.
Yeah, every time they were getting over him, screams of cries of "feed the fish" were going around the ground. But yeah, full credit to Cardiff, because they didn't roll over. They gave Toulouse a bloody good game. And if they play anything like this coming week, Quins will be in for a difficult game.
Yeah, will be interesting to see, actually.
Yeah. But anyway, enough on a wonderful young
Move on to
versus Dupont. Move on to Bordeaux versus Leicester, I think.
Bordeaux, how do you even say that? The second bit of the name, Begler.
Bordeaux Begler. So, top of the Pro 14 versus top of the Premiership.
Yes.
In Bordeaux 13, Leicester 16.
Gave us a close enough game to...
That did get tight at the end.
Yes.
That did get very tight. But Leicester this season, 10 from 10. Is anyone going to beat them?
Yeah, I have to back Bristol on the Boxing Day.
I'm sure you do. But
I really am fearful.
The way they've started this season, Leicester, I mean, once again, it was another case of how good is George Ford, his array of kicking.
Every time, isn't it?
He is just such a good player, such an intelligent player, and his array of kicking was so good. I'm sure you saw that bit in the game where Harry Potter jumped over the advertising board and just fell off the face of the earth. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen that, no.
Oh, you got to get it up. It's so funny.
Is it on the highlights?
I don't know if it is, but I've seen clips on Twitter of it a lot and Instagram and things. But it really fits the name, Harry Potter. He just
disappears.
After the advertising awards, there's a big drop.
Yes, I found an article. I will look at this.
Yeah. And I think he gets pushed a bit, but he jumps over and just disappears. He just disappears into nowhere.
I've got a clip on Twitter here.
Yeah. It really is quite funny. Really is quite funny because he's clearly not. He doesn't know what he's getting himself into when he jumps.
Yeah. I thought he'd jump over there as a celebration. He's just sort of, and then all the players just look and he's disappearing.
Yeah. It's quite funny. Really fitting on the name Harry Potter, isn't he? Just disappearing.
Yeah.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. But anyway.
Oh my God, this angle's even worse. He just jumps and then doesn't come back.
Yeah, exactly. He just disappears. But, obviously I wasn't watching this game because I was too busy getting angry at Bath. But an excellent win for Leicester. The way they defended, particularly in the last 5, or as it turned out to be 10 minutes, because they went to 85 minutes that game.
Yeah.
Winning a crucial penalty. Leicester, you got to ask, are they contenders for the European Cup this year?
I mean, of course. I mean, with how they're doing in the Premiership, if they're the top team in the Premiership, you'd have to back them as one of the top teams from England to go for the title.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this game, Jalibert was injured, so we didn't get to see Jalibert versus Ford. But that was still otherwise near a first-choice Bordeaux team, losing to a near first-choice Leicester team, because Leicester made a few changes.
Yeah.
And in the end, Leicester pulling off an excellent... Because this Bordeaux team, they beat Toulouse the other week in the top 14.
Yeah.
So, I think you got to ask,
I mean, I can't see Leicester losing at the moment. That's the thing.
Well, you got to ask, who could beat them at the moment?
No, Leinster.
I would think only Leinster, because I'm trying.
Yeah.
I reckon they beat Racing, this Leicester team, at the moment.
Yeah, I think Leicester are so much more. I want to say clinical or so much more
complete.
Yeah.
Russell very much needs a game to be going his way for him to really flourish.
Yeah, whereas Leicester seem to have a game plan that should work against most teams.
Yeah.
And just breaks them down more than relies on moments of magic.
Yeah. But, you look at Leicester this season, they've beaten Exeter, they've beaten Quins, they've beaten Saracens, they've now beaten the leaders of the top 14.
Yeah.
You got to ask,
I mean, beating Saracens, they did just get promoted from the Championship. Come on.
They're the same old Saracens this season.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So, it really is. And keep in mind, in that game, Leicester started with about 13 changes.
Yeah, and squad depth like that is going to be huge for them.
Yeah, so, Leicester, I think they've got to be really considered contenders for this year's European Cup.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that's just great to see, though. Leicester back on top and coming away with a great win away in France. But if we move on now to my bit where I can just, vent.
I'll mute the microphone and let Hugh go on.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So then, Saturday, Leinster versus Bath.
Yeah.
You look at the final score, it's not as bad as you think it would be going into it.
Well, I saw the headline of this one. It was 7-try Leinster and all this. I thought, Bath probably got absolutely destroyed then. Then I look at the scoreline and it's like, it's not as bad as maybe I thought.
The scoreline is not a fair reflection of the game. Leinster were far superior in every facet of the game. Just far superior. Now, even in the best of circumstances, I would not be going over to Dublin expecting to beat Leinster.
Yeah.
But what I would at least expect is for us to be competitive. That first half was an abomination. Leinster was just so superior in every single aspect of the game.
What was the score at the end of the first half?
The first half finished 31-13.
Yeah.
But context there, we got to try right on the cusp of half.
Right on the edge, yeah.
Yeah. But in that first half, but throughout the game, because the second half, Leinster were essentially having a training exercise.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, they needed to play. The game was wrapped up. Bath weren't going to trouble them. I don't even think that Bath was second best in that game. I think just thin air would have done a better job than Bath in that game. I think Bath were third best in that game. The defence, and we're recording this on Tuesday, so we're up to date with all the news. Bath have finally hired a defence coach coming from South Africa, got to self-isolate for 10 days because of travel restrictions. But, God, it's needed. Every week I say it, I've seen fishnets have less holes than and it was true yet again. There were like one or two tries where I thought, yeah, no team in the world would defend against that because that was just pure skill.
But maybe it looks even easier against Bath. They have the extra confidence to put some extra skills in.
But there was this one try, I think it was Keelan scored. He picked an excellent line, and all the dummy runners Leinster had, it really was something to behold. But the first try, which was about 5 minutes into the game, it looked like our players were knackered because they were just not working hard enough. They were not wrapping round. And Leinster ended up having about a 4-on-1 with Rugby just defending, and they easily finished that off because, of course, they are. But throughout that half, a lot of the tries, I think there were five tries in that first half. Probably 4 of them, it was just Bath were being, I thought, just unbelievably lazy. They were not working hard enough in defence. They were not wrapping around. They were not. I
mean, I've seen that in Bath for a while. No one seems to want to work for the team.
No, they don't. Do you know what? I thought we had it a bit more against Exeter a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But in that game, there was just, it was just so lazy. And I don't want to say they weren't putting effort in, because I always have a great deal of respect for the players. I always stay after the game and clap them off, even if we do lose, like we have been this season. Because, you know, they're not losing deliberately. They're still going out, putting their body on the line.
Are you the only person left clapping them off at the end?
I'm not, but I'm one of the two. You know, but I have of course, I have a great deal of respect for them. They're putting their body on the line just for me to have some enjoyment on the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I have a huge deal of respect for them, but it just looked lazy and lethargic. Even in attack, our carries weren't good enough. It looked unimaginative. Although I will say, and again, this was said in the pub yesterday with my grand pianist friend Ray, they were big fans of the 10 for Bath, Orlando Bailey.
Yeah.
I thought Orlando Bailey, he had a very decent.
Was Cipriani on the bench?
No, Cipriani wasn't. Cipriani's got concussion. But I must say,
you're probably thankful for that one.
Well, I'm happy it gave Orlando Bailey the start, because again, I thought he put in a very good performance.
Yeah,
you know, it just further solidifies for me that he's going to be our 10 going forward. And you know what? Yeah, Lawrence Deladier was saying in the commentary that he doesn't think Orlando Bailey's future is at 10. I thought, what are you on about? He's only ever played 10 for us.
Yeah.
And he's doing a bloody good job at it. And some of his kicking was very good. Some of what he was orchestrating in attack was very good. His goal kicking was also very good. You know, he got some very difficult kicks, which is very good to see in a young 10. So, you know, again, big fan of Orlando Bailey. Really happy to see him do so well yet again. But overall for Bath, more disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel there's also a big factor of morale's just low at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
You just need a win to get something going, because morale is just low. And, you know, like games where we've come close, like Bristol away, like Exeter at home, it's just been gutting to lose those in the way that, you know, it has really been hard to take. and then you add it all on with the big losses that we've had. It is just crushing. It's crushing for fans, let alone how. I can't even see how the players are feeling, but we just got to.
How do you think against Stade Rochelet next week then?
Well, the thing is.
Oh yeah, of course.
La Rochelle, it's because Bristol are playing Stade France, so you're getting the two intertwined.
No, it's just on the fixture list. It's listed not as La Rochelle.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, La Rochelle on Friday. Obviously a very tough task. You look at some of the quality in that La Rochelle squad. Look at Aldrit, Skelton in the forwards. Then like players like Bottier in the centres. It really is going to be a changing game. Obviously, runners up last year. But I think last game before Christmas at home, so you got the home crowd. Bath at the moment, even though we've not been playing well, seem to nearly always sell out the stadium.
Yeah, somehow.
So I reckon our home support.
Save it for later.
Yeah, I will get onto predictions. I'll just go more about how bad Bath are at the moment. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, Leinster are just incredible. It's basically Ireland. We were playing Ireland. Leinster obviously going to be those contenders for to be champions this season. It's going to be seriously interesting to say Leinster and Leicester do meet. But overall, Leinster just good as always, just good as they always are. Bath dysfunctional. And what I do want to say though is today it has been announced that Munster head coach Johan van Graan will not be signing a contract extension there, and it is heavily rumoured that he will be going to Bath. Some reports saying it's all but done. So I am excited by that.
Why would you want to go from Munster to Bath?
It's a very good question. But look at what he's done at Munster. He may not have won anything, but Munster are one of the best teams in Europe. They've made it to 2 European Cup semi-finals under him. They've made it to 3 Pro 14 semi-finals.
And what position would he get at Bath?
That's where it's a bit. I would assume it would be head coach.
Yeah.
Which then leaves the futures of people like Stuart Hooper, like Neil Hatley. It leaves their future sort of up in the air a bit.
Yeah.
But the way this season has gone, it can't continue. There do need to be changes. And you have to look at the before. And I've said nearly every week on this podcast that I think Stuart Hooper, he just has to go.
I think so too.
And you know what? I am very much excited and very much look forward to Johan van Graan at the Rec next season. I think, he could do because Bath have a talented squad on paper, got real talent in the squad. And you see what he's done at Munster and the players he brought forward and the success he has had there. And it's not, for me, well, of course I want to win. It's not even about winning right now. It's just being competitive.
Yeah.
Because we aren't competitive at the moment. Any game we play, we seem to always be second best in it. And by quite some margin. I just want to be competitive again. And I really think next season he can deliver that to us. So I am quite excited by the news of that. And optimistic and looking forward to next season. If this season can just end now, then that would be great for everyone. But anyway, again,
let's move on.
I can talk about hours for how bad Bath are at the moment. So if we do move on,
Claremont-Ulster.
What a win for Ulster!
Huge, yeah.
Away at the Stade Marcel Michelin, not an easy place to go.
Not at all.
Ulster pulling off a quite incredible win there. And again, you look at some of the talent in that Clermont squad. In the forwards, they got players like Val Mahina, they got Yato, they got Fritz Lee. And then you look in the back, particularly the wings of Raka and Damien Pinot. That is serious talent. But Munster put in an excellent performance. Must say, Dwayne Vermeulen made his debut for Ulster, at number 8. He would have trained with I think he trained about 1.5 days with the squad.
Yeah, straight in.
Played really, because I think it was Rory Best in commentary kept going on, this isn't a barbarians game.
Yeah.
You can just train for a few days, go straight into it and have a load of fun. It is proper rugby. There's going to be serious calls. And Dwayne Vermeulen just put in an excellent performance for the 50 minutes.
I mean, 1.5 days, that's just about enough to learn the calls.
Yeah, let alone, everything else, like get up to speed and things. But, really solid performance from Dwayne Vermeulen. But that just epitomised the whole Ulster team. It's a really solid performance from everyone, particularly Cooney, whose goal kicking was on point. I think he got one to make it, I think it would have been 29-20 in the minutes. He got a kick from, I think it was about 56 metres out.
Oh, wow.
Quite a kick with... And of course, the French never respect the kicker. It was very noisy when he was taking that kick. So, really good from Cooney. But overall, great for Ulster to pull off an incredible win away to Clermont. And that's going to set them up really nicely going on and for potentially qualifying for the knockout rounds. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ulster have Northampton next, and you know what? I'd look at that right now and I think, Ulster.
Ulster could have them easy.
Yeah,
well, not easy, but
not easy, but
it's a fair call, is what I mean by easy.
Yeah. But overall, just going to the Stade Marcel Michelin and pulling off a win is something quite spectacular.
Yeah.
Regardless of who you are. I mean, I remember a few seasons ago when Saracens went over there and got absolutely battered. So I don't really know what more to say. I was more just a tad drunk and devastated after the Bath game. But, really strong from Ulster to pull off a great win and really sets them up nicely going forward in the competition.
Yeah, but you're talking about devastation. I guess we move on to a 42-6 win for the Chiefs at Sandy Park. Big home win for the Chiefs.
Yeah, very big. Really nice. As the European Cup, it's always important to get off to a good start.
Yeah.
But now they've changed the format. So instead of 6 group games, you play 4. It really is a sprint now.
Definitely.
That first game, you have to get off to a good start. You pretty much...
Get off the blocks very quickly.
I'd say if you're at home, you pretty much have to win it.
Yeah.
And, for Exeter... Initially, Montpellier, they weren't exactly targeting this game because I think in France they've had to do a mandatory rest week for their international players.
Yeah.
So this was the game they chose to do that for.
I mean, that does make sense because then you don't disturb your momentum at all.
Realistically, going to Sandy Park is going to be incredibly difficult, even if you do put out your full team.
Yeah.
And you probably won't win it.
I mean, until half time, though, the score was really close.
Yeah, only 7-6. But in the second half, Exeter just sort of clicked into...
Turned up the gears, yeah.
I mean, Stuart Hogg, Sam Simmons, the usual suspects. And then the not-so-usual suspect, Johnny Gray, getting a hat-trick.
You would never expect that. That's an outlandish prediction for you right there.
That would be an outlandish prediction. But that's so outlandish you wouldn't actually make that prediction.
Exactly, yes.
So, for Exeter... really, really solid performance. And while they've not been functioning the Premiership probably as well or consistently as they'd like, we talked about last week, could a change of competition be good? We said for Bristol, even though Bristol didn't play, we could have probably also mentioned Exeter in that.
Yeah, definitely, actually.
They've been inconsistent this season. They've not been at their best. But in that second half, they were at their typical clinical best, Exeter.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to say, with a second half like that, you can't really say anything else. Leave Montpellier scoreless.
Yeah.
And it's 48-6, sorry. No, 48-0 in that second half.
Yeah.
38-0, sorry.
Yeah. So just...
That's wrong maths, but...
we'll move on. This is a rugby podcast, not a maths podcast. Just really solid from Exeter. Going to set them up in great shape because let's not forget they won the European Cup in 2020.
Yeah.
So again this season, as they are in every competition they play, they're going to be massive contenders for this. Massive contenders for this. and they've started off as I'm sure they mean to go on in this competition.
Definitely.
So if we move on to the Sunday games then, now, of course, the early kickoffs had the very unfortunate situation of clashing with the F1, which, let's be honest, nobody was watching the rugby while the F1 was on, were they?
No. Big F1 fan myself, so I did not. All of these Sunday games were an absolute write-off.
Yeah. Regardless of what happened in the F1, and especially after what happened in the F1. But we're not here to talk about the F1. I know you have a lot to say on it, probably more than I do have to say on how bad Bath are at the moment.
Yeah, I better keep my mouth shut because this isn't an F1 podcast.
No. But if we start then, I'll start with Osprey Sale. Sale putting off a 21-13 win. Good result for them, because I thought for probably 60 minutes of that game, Sale were second best.
Yeah, and Sale haven't been in the best of form recently.
No, they haven't, but they came out the box flying. They got 3 tries in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's all they scored that game. The damage was done. And
then they just go Sale defence for the whole game.
Yeah, watching the first, because I did watch the game back afterwards. Watching it, the first 15 minutes, you thought Sale would be about 50-0 up by half-time. Ospreys weren't on it. But after about the sort of 20-minute mark, Ospreys started get into it. And they ended up just being the far superior team in that game and were probably unlucky not to win it. I mean, they had so many scoring opportunities. The scrum for Ospreys was really functioning. And considering the Sale pack is big, it's strong.
Yeah.
I mean, its front 5 is basically South Africa. And then its number 8 is South Africa, and then you got the 2 Curry twins.
Yeah.
It was... the Ospreys pack was really going into them and really got the better of them at scrum time. They really did. And the front row, I think it was for Ospreys, Nicky Smith, Sam Perry and Thomas Francis.
Yeah.
Nicky Smith and Sam Perry sort of on the cusp of the Wales team, but Thomas Francis firmly in there. It really was good to see from these Welsh props, this Welsh front row, really pushing back Sale and their big, beefy South Africans.
Yeah.
But Sale, I think, conceded 19 penalties in that game.
That's too much at this level, really.
I was not a fan of the referee because he would keep warning Sale, but wouldn't send anyone off.
Yeah.
He kept warning them for different things.
Right. Yeah, not just like a team warning, but
But he was going at one point he was like, and I get this, at one point it was like, okay, you're warning, you're giving too many penalties away in this period. Then the next penalty goes and he goes, all right, now you got a warning for scrum penalties.
Yeah.
Which I get that because the scrum is different.
Yeah.
But then the next one, there's a penalty in open field again, and he goes, yeah, that's a warning again. Because you've done this certain act, you've committed this too many times.
Yeah.
At one point, Sale probably should have had about 3 players in the bin, to be honest. So Ospreys can consider someone lucky there, but overall Ospreys weren't clinical enough because they were playing excellent rugby until about the last 5 meters.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, who had a great game at fullback, who had an excellent game at fullback, was Matt Prothero.
Oh, I love Matt Prothero.
He had an excellent game
Matt Prothero.
He had an excellent game at fullback for Ospreys. Really good game, really solid game.
He was one of our favourite little players at Bristol.
Yeah.
He was absolutely class. So glad to hear he's playing well at the Ospreys.
He had an excellent game. And I think he actually made it into the team of the week for this week.
Any consideration for the Wales squad for him?
Probably not at this point.
Nah.
Got a lot of depth in that back 3, a lot of strength in that back 3. I mean, but overall, Sale, the damage was done in the first 15. They were able to hold on. Also, Rafi Quirk had another good game. Really good to see Rafi Quirk playing well. Carrying form that got him in the England team. But overall, we said just a minute ago with the Exeter that getting a good start is important, and for Sale they certainly had that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what got them the game in the end. If they didn't have that start, it would be a 13-0 game. So
Yeah, unfortunate for Ospreys because I think they have Racing next week. So, you really
how unlucky.
Really tough for the Welsh team. And also considering that's probably Wales's best chance for the European games this weekend.
Yeah.
Hey ho. I think Ospreys at the moment are very much like Leicester, as in they've gone through a big rough patch. I'm not saying they're at the level Leicester.
They're like Leicester last year.
I'm saying not even last year, but they're certainly I think this season they're building quite nicely. I think they're currently sat 5th in the URC, not a bad position for them.
Yeah.
They're building quietly and nicely, and they're missing a few players as well. So, players like George North, he's still injured. When he gets back, he's going to be great to see back there. Players like Titbrick as well is injured. Alan Wynne-Jones injured. So, they're missing a few key players from the Welsh squad. Yeah. But overall, there were a lot of positives for Ospreys to take and a lot of positives for Sale to take.
Yeah.
So then if we move on to Connaught Stad, I've just seen we're running a bit out of time already.
Yeah, I think maybe we go through these a bit quicker.
We'll sort of go through a bit quicker, and this one I can go through quicker.
We'll go through the predictions quickly.
Basically, the weather was not great.
No.
And you could tell from the warm-up that the Stad from the Parisians were just not feeling it. Not in the slightest. They were not up for that game. And Connaught really made that show. Excellent win. Jack Cartier fly half the American. Great game from him. Really, really controlled that game. And overall, 6-try Connaught. Is that 6? Yeah, 6.
I can check.
Yeah, 6-try Connaught, pulling off a very impressive win against Stade Francais. And once again, getting a nice bonus point win.
6 tries.
Getting a nice bonus point win, that's going to be really good for them going ahead.
Yeah. So should we quickly move that one on?
Yeah, if we move on then to La Rochelle Glasgow.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Yeah, La Rochelle Glasgow. Obviously, I have an interest in this going into this weekend. La Rochelle, Ronan O'Gara's team played very well. Glasgow gave them a good game, were leading for a lot of it, but La Rochelle in the end pulling through, showing why they came second last year in this competition.
Yeah.
Or they'll be out for revenge this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, La Rochelle really have been on the up recently.
Yeah, definitely.
And Glasgow, I hardly watch them play, so I can't really read much into this myself.
Yeah, I mean, Glasgow are going all right this season. They had a nice win against the Dragons in the URC 2 weekends ago. But overall, I said earlier, looking at the quality in that La Rochelle team. So I said Skelton, Aldrich. I didn't even mention Vito. West. He's off to Toulon next season, interestingly. But anyway, Bottier in the centres. Also, Brice Delan at fullback, the French fullback. There is some real quality in that La Rochelle squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they came away deserving winners.
Healthy win, yeah.
Deserving winners. But bonus point for Glasgow, and in this, with how close it's going to be with only 4 games.
They're going to be key if you can pick one up, one losing.
Yeah, it's like the Clermont-Ulster game as well. It was 29-20. Clermont get a penalty in the red. Nice streak, you get your bonus point.
Yeah.
That could come in big when
really key, yeah.
Qualifying for the knockouts.
Definitely, yeah.
Then if we move on to Wasps versus Munster. So Munster, of course, hit by COVID. They still put out a good team, but they did still have some youngsters in there, some academy players. I think there was one, their replacement 10, who actually only signed for the academy last month. Now, going into the game, I thought Wasps had a real chance here because it was the strength Munster side.
Although you have to think Wasps are still very under strength.
With the injuries. And then, just before, they get hit with COVID.
Yeah.
They have a COVID outbreak. So, players like Jacob and Mang are out. They have to put in...
It's not a good time to be a Wasp.
Bloody hell. They have been so unfortunate this season.
Yeah.
So unfortunate. So, look... Full credit to Wasps in that game. They did not stop fighting as they've done all season. But also full credit to Munster. Their young players had a great game. And even the old guard, Peter O'Mahony was great as always. Or not as always. I don't really rate him highly.
As often.
Yeah, as often. Ty Burnt, who I do rate very highly, was great as always. There was a red card in the midway through the first half. Now, that's come under some controversy about whether...
I heard about it. I haven't seen it, though.
Yeah. I lean to the side... It's Romain Poix, so he's given a red card. I lean on the side... It is a very, very harsh red card. There's a lot of movement from the Mutscarrier. Yes, there is head contact, but I think there is enough mitigation. I think a yellow would have sufficed in that instance.
Yeah.
Because, listen, protecting play is important, but I think there does also have to be a level of common sense with these head collisions.
Yeah.
Because head collisions are going to happen.
Yeah, they happen all the time in rugby.
World Rugby has done an excellent job in changing the rules to reduce and minimise the amount of actual head collisions there are, the amount of high speed, high danger head collisions there are. And full credit, you don't see them as often now because players have changed behaviour. But I just felt with that, it was probably following the rule book too literally.
Yeah.
Because there does have to be interpretation, and there was movement from the Munster carrier. It was a harsh red card.
I've just seen it, and that is, I think it's extremely harsh.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, the thing is, I reckon if you followed the laws really literally, you can justify a red card.
Yeah.
In the way Romain Poix has done. But if you're looking at it from, let's have a bit of common sense here, a yellow would have sufficed in that. A yellow.
Yeah. Do you think it changed the game?
No, I think Munster would have won anyway. I think it just killed sort of Wasps.
Yeah.
But they didn't stop fighting. Full credit to them. And again, full credit to Munster, who were very deserving winners.
Yeah. So should we move it on to the final game?
Final game of the weekend. Cast was a good. This is interesting. Cast are unbeaten at home in the Champions Cup since 2015. Or were until Sunday.
Yeah.
And they had a good start. They had a lovely opening try, Cast. Now, I'll admit, at this point, I was feeling very rugbyed out. After watching every game, it was my sister's birthday as well on Sunday. So I was feeling very tired, very rugbyed out. I did my best to try and watch it, but I wasn't paying all that much attention.
Yeah.
But Cass scored a great try to open with, but Quins...
A lead is not a lead against Harlequins.
No, it most certainly is not. And, Liner can't stop scoring.
Yeah, he's really in form.
Don Braun, again, is somebody who can't stop scoring. And overall, Quins going to a very difficult place and coming with a win. There were questions after the Leicester game if they could do it in these rainy conditions, and the weather wasn't great in Cast, and it's a difficult place to go, and they were able to pull off the win.
Yeah,
and in the European Cup, that is a really good result for the English champions. Really good result for the English champions. But I think we should probably stop talking about the rugby that happened on the weekend there.
Yes.
About this coming weekend's rugby.
Yeah, I think
predictions.
With these, we'll just rattle through them pretty quickly.
Yeah,
because there is double the amount of games, of course, in the in the Champions Cup to the Premiership. So
so if we go through quickly, so 2 games on Friday night: Montpellier versus Leinster.
I think we both have an idea of where this one's going to go.
It's hard to bet against.
Not much needs to be said.
No, I'm hoping Montpellier are at least more competitive than they were against Exeter. I want to see Zach Mercer play, and I want to see Garbisi play. And if Garbisi, Montpellier are guaranteed to win.
But this could be a real hurt for Montpellier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's going to be a good competitive game, but I think even if it is, you're going to have to back Leinster in that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, okay. So then if we want, because there's 2 games on Friday night, the second one in Belfast is Ulster versus Northampton.
Yes.
I think considering it's in Belfast and how they got on in Clermont.
I was going to say Ulster.
Yeah.
Personally.
I think Northampton will actually give them a very good game.
Yeah.
But I just think they'll come up short against a very good, strong, in-form Ulster team.
Yeah.
Okay, then, if we move on to Saturday, we'll start with, at the Stoop, Quins versus Cardiff.
Should be a good game.
Cardiff will still be a bit depleted.
Yeah. I think, especially at the Stoop as well.
Even if Cardiff put out their first team, I would have still backed Quins.
Yeah.
So I think that just...
I think Quins as well,
makes that tad more favourites than they already were.
Yeah.
So another win for the English champions, be a strong start for them. So the other 1 o'clock game is Bath versus La Rochelle at the Rec.
Yeah. I know you're a Bath supporter, Hugh, but you've not got your new coaches.
Yeah.
From your words of what it was like before, I've got to back. Hang on, La Rochelle.
Well,
unexpected.
What I'm hoping, one of my favourite games, the best thing I've been to is Bath versus Toulon in 2017 Champions Cup. It was the game before Christmas at the Rec, full house, and we ended up beating them.
Are you hoping for a repeat?
I'm hoping for a repeat. But back then we were in a lot better form and playing a lot better than we are now.
Yeah.
So, listen, I don't think it will be like it was against Leinster or Northampton. I reckon we'll give them a good game, but I reckon ultimately we'll come up short.
Yeah.
But
I think La Rochelle will have a pretty good run away with it, to be honest.
Hey ho. Anyway, the next game at the AJ Bell, Sale versus Clermont.
How'd you see that one going?
That actually sounds like a tasty game now.
It does.
Tasty.
Got my taste buds tingling.
2 sort of teams that haven't been in the best of form so far this season.
Yeah.
Different fortunes on the opening weekend, but I reckon this could be a really tasty game. And
yeah,
you know what? I reckon because of the talent in the backs, I reckon Clermont will just nick this.
Or I'm gonna go with Sale because Sale at home at the AJ Bell.
I could definitely see Sale winning it, but I just got this sneaky feeling about Clermont this weekend.
Same for me with Sale.
Yeah. But anyway, if we move on then up to Glasgow, where it's Glasgow against Exeter, the Warriors versus the Chiefs. I reckon it's probably hard to bet against Exeter. But saying that, Glasgow and Exeter have had some very good games in the Champions.
And it's a long way to go up to Glasgow.
I think they played maybe in 2019, I think, and it finished like 31-all.
Yeah.
But, you know, this could be a really interesting game. But I reckon ultimately Exeter might just have that bit.
I agree.
So if we move on then to
Racing Ospreys.
Racing Ospreys. I fear for the Ospreys in that game.
I really do.
Paris.
I want to see some Finn Russell magic.
Yeah, I reckon Racing will end up running away with this game.
Yeah, I think quite a comfortable call.
This is in Osprey's sort of rebuild. This will probably be a big bump in the road for them.
Yeah,
but anyway,
not much to be said.
Ospreys can pull off a shock, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Anyway, if we move on to the final game of Saturday, it's Munster against Cast. In Limerick.
I think Munster.
I reckon Munster, yeah. It will still be a bit of an unstrength Munster, but in Limerick, the crowd at Thorman Park is going to get behind them.
Yeah.
I reckon,
Munster are doing fairly well as well.
Yeah.
Back off a comfortable win at Wasps.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, if we move on to Sunday then, starts with Leicester against Connaught at Welford Road. I reckon it's pretty hard to bet against Leicester.
I've said I can't see Leicester losing, and I'm going to say it again. I cannot see Leicester losing at the moment.
No.
I hope they lose for Bristol's sake, put them on a bad run before they face Bristol. But
Connaught, they played very well on the weekend, but they're coming up against, let's face it, a level above what Stade Francais are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I reckon Connacht will still give them a good game because Connacht are a very good and capable team.
Yeah.
But, ultimately, I've said ultimately a lot during these. I'm going to stop saying it.
Need new words. Search up the synonyms.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I reckon Leicester will end up coming with a win, and probably a healthy win in the end. I don't think they'll run away with it, but just a nice, solid, healthy win.
Yeah. I've got your synonym, Hugh. Your synonym is in the fullness of time.
The fullness of time. Okay, I'll use that for next one. Scarlets against Bordeaux. Well, Scarlets will be getting their players back now out of isolation, but
hard to call because they didn't play.
This season, Scarlets have not been in the best of form, and being against top of the French league,
they are home.
But the Parky Scarlets, I don't think that would be enough to get.
Parky Scarlets sounds like you're calling them something there. Those Parky Scarlets.
But I reckon in the fullness of time, Bordeaux will come away with a healthy win.
I'm in an agreement with you there.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Scarlets, but hey.
Now we'll move on to Stade Toulouse basically, versus
Wasps. Well, I think it's
Wasps. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Even if they had a full team, you're going to struggle to go away to Toulouse and win.
Yeah.
So to add on these injuries that they have and being hit with COVID, you got to ask, when is it just going to end for Wasps? When is bad luck just going to end?
But I'm going to go Toulouse.
Yeah, I am as well. I think that's actually probably a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Wasps, but
what's not an easy call is, for me at least, Stade.
No, I definitely agree. Especially how Bristol is playing this season and the fact it's in Paris.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
But Bristol have had that week out, regroup. A nice little week. I can't remember how their last game went. Oh yeah, it was terrible scrums. But
you're also sitting second in Pool B. So as it stands, you're going through to the knockouts.
But having played no games.
You know what's crazy? That bonus point win might be enough to get you through.
That would be crazy. I was thinking of this earlier, that the Champions Cup, it's like the wrong teams in the Premiership, half of them are in the Champions Cup this year.
Yeah.
Because there's this biggest swing in form has happened.
Oh, definitely. But this is going to actually be a really interesting game to watch.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to call, but I've got a feeling, based on how Bristol's played this season, I reckon Stade Francais will end up coming away with the win. But I do see Bristol getting a bonus point from that game, maybe two.
I'm going to back Bristol.
That's fair. You are a Bristol fan.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's going to be a wonderful game to watch.
It's going to be a very interesting game.
Because Stade play quite an open game as well.
Mm-hmm. And again, they're not in the best of form right now either.
Yeah.
So it really is going to be a sort of the two out of form sides in both respective leagues going up against each other.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that brings us to the end.
That does bring us to the end. That concludes an epic weekend of rugby.
Outlandish prediction.
My outlandish prediction, now to think about this now, is for us to see Semi Radradra has shaven his beard.
That's not happening. I might as well say that's not happening right now.
That's why it's outlandish.
I'm going to say Johnny Hill's going to get another hat-trick.
It was Johnny Gray.
Johnny Gray, damn. He's going to get another hat. No, I'm going to go Johnny Hill's going to get a hat-trick.
Johnny Hill getting a hat-trick is probably way more unlikely.
Yes, so I'm going to go Johnny Hill getting a hat-trick.
All right, okay. Well, that concludes this week's podcast. Before we go, please do follow us on TikTok and Instagram, both at The Rugby Hour.
Thank you for the 1,000 followers. We do appreciate it on TikTok.
Yes, we do. So yes, thank you very much for listening yet again, and please do tune in next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.